All right, rescue show's back. Hey, Taryn, how you doing?
Hey, Christopher. I am doing very well. How are you?
Right as rain, as they say.
Mhm.
Too blessed to be stressed. I don't know, one of those things. Uh, but I know I'm prepared because it's summer and it's July 4th weekend, and so I know folks are at the beaches and the pools and stuff. So I felt this was apropos, right?
Yes,
All right.
yes. The words of the prophets are written on the subway walls.
Amen. Or the hats.
Yes.
Um, yeah, amen. So this is the Rescue Show. Chris and Taryn are back once again, and boy, this one's a long time coming. And it must have been important because it was kind of difficult to do this, get this on the air. So I'm figuring we must be doing something right in the spirit world because it was just hard, wasn't it? It wasn't just me, was it? No, a
A bit, yes.
little challenging.
It was a bit difficult, this one. Yes.
Right. So
Very
no
much.
guest, yeah, no guest today. Just wanted to set the expectations for the folks. By the way, welcome. We're gonna learn one day. Okay, first thing is like and subscribe. All right, I know everyone says this. We have the Rescue channel on YouTube is the important place to be. Even if you're watching this on some other forum, Wings of the Eagle, etc. Please go to the Rescue Show YouTube channel, like this, subscribe, and hit the little bell to get updates when we do new videos. That's it. That's all you have to do. And obviously share, because as we know, sharing is caring. That's it. I'm done.
That's it. Yeah, join the dialogue. We expect this movement to sort of morph, twist, um, reemerge in different forms over the next few years or so. And you're kind of a part of watching the narrative now that we kind of have our finger on the pulse, and we're very interested to see where it's going, what folks think about every piece of it. If you agree or disagree with us, just be kind, but share your thoughts. We want to hear.
Yeah,
Um,
kindness is good. Kindness
yeah.
is big, right? Benefit of the doubt. That's a big deal. So,
Yeah, and special thanks to YouTube again for hosting shows like this, especially in this current climate. Yes. Y'all are amazing. Great platform for everyone to enjoy and spew
and
our
by the
thoughts.
way, if you're listening, I just want to say now that I thought of it, if you're listening on podcasts as well, because we have an audio only version of this out there. If you didn't know that, go grab it. Thank you for listening and for subscribing to that. That's a big deal as well, because so many folks listen to just podcasts nowadays. Anyways, it's a real cool medium. Anyway, thank you for that. Just go to rescueshow.com, RESQ SHOW .com, and that will link you to all the videos and all the podcasts and all the resources that we talk about here, or many of them. We endeavor to do pretty much everything right, and scripture to meditate on afterwards, which Taryn has done a fantastic, awesome job every episode for that. So thank you for keeping us focused.
Oh, my pleasure. That's the fun part, the mining the scripture.
Amen. And by the way, you are welcome to make contributions here as a live viewer. If you'd like, go ahead and ask a question in the live chat area, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook. I see Brother Isaac is already checking in. Well, God bless you, brother.
Hi, Isaac. I know you.
Dear brother and Isaac. Yep. So yeah, this is what we want to cover today. I don't know how it's going to hit the folks, T-Saurus.
Well, we never do we? I mean, it's.
No.
Remember when we thought of this idea, and all of our, a lot of our people were like, "Why would you want to do that? That's the worst kind of thing to talk about right now." And we'd be like, "Well, that's what we really want to do." So it's just always a funny. It's funny to kind of like ride the edge of that line.
Did you ever see the Lego movie?
I love the Lego movie, and
I don't know why. It's one of my favorite movies, like in the past 20 years, because it's so goofy.
Right.
Yeah, the humor is just right up my dumb alley. One of the parts is the main character is just basically a not smart person, and the Morgan Freeman person, and he's like, that idea is just the worst, right? That's how that was our feedback. Hey, let's do a show about this stuff, and that was kind of what we heard. Anyway.
Well, we're both kind of like, we're in an interesting corridor of the United States in the sense that, so I think both of us have kind of, we interact with people on the right and the left enough. Like I was raised right-wing military family, love those people, lived very much as an adult in more left country, and I've really appreciated my friends on both sides of it. And most of the time start to feel kind of like an anthropologist peeking into both sides. And it's like last show, we're like, we're on the right. I'm like, I actually don't say that to many people, but the truth is that I will suffer with the right. And I have views that the left would just not be cool with at all. So, but it is sort of like, well, we've all kind of gotten a little bit wild. We've all, like, the right wing has become wild. There are elements that could destroy it from within, like the ones that we discuss, and just polarize from each other, be caught in a giant warfare with one another instead of kind of like dialoguing enough to create some common ground, some more tolerance, some more values. And Christians have that mandate especially.
You know, that, I mean, obviously I know that's your heart of it as well, and that's my concern watching this stupid thing over this last couple of years is it's tearing the church apart. I mean, the conservative peoples are torn apart now. I mean, this whole side of the bird, so to speak, is really hurting. And so that's the immediate effect, and then the deeper, spiritual impact is what I know both of us are concerned about the most. And not a problem to, we believe things that are wrong a lot. It's just human nature, right? We just don't get it right, and that's cool. That's no problem. We just learn from it, and if it has to do with the Lord, we repent over it, and here we go. Not a big deal. But when you don't realize that it's, you're in that place, or you don't think you need to repent when you do, that's the danger zone. And then we've got, then the enemy really has a foothold in there. Anyway, so that's our motivation.
Yes, and when I say we have a spiritual mandate to reach out to the left, people might really want to know, what is that? Basic spiritual principles like the Great Commission. Jesus said, go into all the world and preach the gospel. We know that our war is not against flesh and blood, aka our war is not against celebrity or a politician, but against principalities and powers. These are the dark spiritual forces that keep people in blindness and keep them screwing up in the world. Even if they have power, they're still human. They can be redeemed. And that's it. So that's very specific.
That's not a minor point, is it? That's like the major point.
Yeah.
That's the major focus. All right. So what we wanted to do before we get off into who knows where is we asked a poll. We came up with a poll a couple weeks ago, about a month now, I guess, almost, with what we had put together and just, over this past year or year plus, of majorly believed things, topics, that your average person, like us, your conservative Christian people, were saying is true, but in fact we know that they're not, and not in a generic sense, but like we all believe things that are not true, which is that's no big deal. But these things are from Q sources and people, and it was spun as a tale, from Q itself. And when I say Q, people already have commented on our earlier videos. Oh, well, that's Q versus the Anons. You got to differentiate. No, we don't. Okay, I don't think we do. I get it. I know what you mean, right? There's this person or people or whatever claiming to do these posts as this person Q, this mystery thing, and then there's the everyone else who listens to it. I get that. trust me, I understand. I'm just saying when we refer to that, we're just saying anyone who is in that universe, whether they're the writers of this, the believers of this, the disseminators, you're sharing it on Granny's Facebook page. That's what I mean. So it's coming from that universe. It doesn't come from reality. It's coming from this alternate universe. So there were, as far as we could, there are more than 3, but the 3 biggies where normal folks, it crept over into regular life, and voters and activists and churchgoers now seem to, in some pretty large degree, believed one of these major things. So Taryn, what were those 3 things? And I'll go hit some buttons over here.
Well, let me pull up the poll because I have not looked at it in a while.
I think I can help you.
With the poll was this amazing guy over here, actually. Although I really gleefully enjoyed it. All right, I'm almost there.
Here it is. Can we see that? Okay.
You beat me.
All right.
You beat me again. No, I see it very well.
There we are. Okay. All right. So this is a little Google form we created. And it's kind of a leading question, no doubt about it. But we said which of these popular beliefs are actually lies? Because originally it said from Q or from QAnon, which would tell me it's not true. But to other folks, it doesn't mean it's not true. That means they revealed it, right? But here are the 3 major things, okay? Option 1, and by the way, I had planned to come on with the results of the poll because I kind of spread it around, but most people had no interest in answering it, even though I know they saw it, if you know what I mean. And that's fine. That's fine. So we don't exactly have enough to have a conclusion, but some people did reply. Here were the 3 things, and see if you had subscribed to any of these things. Number 1, 800,000 kids go missing every year. That's a popular number, right? That was floated around this past year and a half, 2 years. 800,000, and then around right before the elections, this movement, this hashtag Save Our Children popped up. You remember that? Some of you maybe still use it.
Save the children now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sometime when you said originally it was Save the Children, but then there's actually an organization called Save the Children, who said, "What are you doing with that?" So that's not us. So we kind of transitioned into Save Our Children. Okay. And this was a lot of the time, this is what you would hear, giant numbers like this. And we'll talk about it more in a second, I guess. And number 2 was.
And is this number, going back to point 1, this is just for the United States, supposedly?
Correct.
Okay.
Not even, right. It's not even worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So this just automatically seemed like a massive number. I mean, how could you not hear about such a thing? How could not every family in America be impacted by one of their children going missing? It's a giant number. So anyway, this was the first foray that I had into it when in late 2018, I was at a gathering, a Christian church gathering, and someone came up to me and said that, what about all these children? Isn't it horrible? I'm like, of course it's horrible. What are you talking about? So that's point 1. All right. 800,000 kids go missing every year. Number 2, Dominion voting machines. We heard this recently, right? The past few months. Dominion voting machines have changed votes / stole the election from Donald Trump. Same difference, right? They changed the votes to change the result. So a lot of folks saying, yeah, there's Dominion. I've seen videos. I've seen evidence of this and that. I'll show you in a minute here what the truth of that is. And then the one that the major, if you're deep into QAnon stuff, this was for a lot of folks. This was the Holy Grail, or the big revelation, right? Which is the adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is a drug, so this belief goes. It's a drug that's harvested from children, and taken as a drug by rich people like politicians and actors and the super rich elite people, so they can stay young. I think the stay young is right. What was your understanding of the purpose of the adrenochrome, Darren?
My understanding of it.
Like why would the rich person take it?
Well, the story, of course, is that the wealthy person who is addicted to adrenochrome is taking it because it gives some kind of amazing high that's supposedly better than heroin or something like that. But as we discussed on a previous show, the amount you would get from a child, even if it was possible to extract from a human, is so minuscule. You're better off with a large adult or a cow, because apparently bovine adrenochrome, the pituitary gland is a lot larger. So, and it's apparently very similar to human. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So okay, that seems really complicated. In order to get some kind of high or whatever effect. Right. So I'm just at the top line, and thank you, by the way, Brother Cameron told me how to view this better so the folks can read it easier. It's really hard, and in fact, it's just not how it's done. If you were to require this as a medical thing, and it is a real chemical, but how would you obtain it? And is it even possible to obtain it from a child? Like important questions like that we should be asking. Okay, so the point is, we put those three choices, and then also in all of the above, because I'll tell you, spoiler alert, the answer is all of the above. Okay, none of these things are actually true, and so I had planned, if it's okay with you, T-Source, just to show a little taste of, for people who don't know, why they're not true, and why not start with the top. Okay, all right. So save the children. Here, I'm going to go to a website called missingkids.org. By the way, you can go to our site, therescueshow.com, and there's links to two amazing, awesome places you can actually give money to help children for real.
Yes, children who are trafficked.
Right.
And there's a lot of charities.
If you care about that topic, and why wouldn't you? In reality, what's really happening, and you can really help. And there's even a Christian mission dedicated to that, to freeing children from trafficking and things. They actually do this awesome work. Go to our site and click on that. You can give to them direct. Okay. So I'm not in any way trying to minimize the reality of missing children, exploited children, sexual trafficking, all that evil stuff.
Yeah, and even the torture of trafficked children. I mean, there are just the most heinous, horrific things really happening in the world. So let's give to organizations that find the children. So instead of trying to find politicians and celebrities who are nefarious, we all can focus our energy primarily on, let's find children who are actually being trafficked and tortured or whatever.
Novel idea, Darren. Okay, so here is the actual facts. Okay, this is from where? National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. You're looking live at their website right now. Missingkids.org. Okay, this is what they do. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't spread information. They're actually doing something about it. And if we hear a number like 800,000 missing children, what does the people who actually do this for their jobs, for their life's work in America every day say? How many children go missing? In 2020, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children assisted law enforcement and families with more than 29,000 800 cases of missing children. Again, this is in no way, in any form, meant to minimize that number that is way too high.
We also don't we know statistically that a lot of kids who are reported missing are found very quickly. Sometimes it's a divorce where one parent who doesn't necessarily have custody wants time with the child and grabs him for a day and then gets,
That's right.
Yeah.
We see that even from the statistics right here on their site, which is by case type. So they have approximately 30,000 last year cases. 91% of those are endangered runaways. In other words, these kids were not taken by anyone.
Mm-hmm.
They ran away from home.
Yeah.
Or were reported to have run away from home. That's a big, big difference, isn't it? To say you're kidnapped and taken to an underground facility and get drugs harvested from your little body is a big difference than I ran away from home and I don't want to be found. Okay, so anyway, 91% of those 30,000 are that. 5% are actually family abductions. This is what Taryn's talking about. Let's say there's a divorce, or someone's actually not permitted by law. The court has come down and said you can't, the dad can't see the kids, he's a danger to them or whatever, and yet they're hanging out with dad. Stuff like that. Or maybe the dad's, you know what, I'm taking my kids and we're going, I'm never bringing them back. Not good, but definitely not the same as a stranger taking you and doing horrible experiments on you. These are actually family members, okay? But that's only 5% of the total. Even less than that, 3%, what they call critically missing young adults. So these aren't even the little kids, these are the older ones, okay? So they even count all the way up to 20 years old. Less than 1% are non-family abductions. What does that mean? I'm not that good at math, but if you're talking about 30,000 total, 1% of that is what? 300? Is that right, Taryn? Can you check my math on that?
I
just put the decimal plates over, right? 30,000. One place is 3,000, and two places, which would be 1%, is 300 kids per year, non-family abductions. 1%, and the final stat here, 1% lost, injured, or otherwise missing. These are the ones they can't figure out. Again, so 1% non-family abduction, 1% they can't figure out. That's 2%. That's 600 total that would fit the Q narrative. And yet it turned to 80,000. Why? Why? Isn't 600 bad enough?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen different statistics, but all of them knock the number way down very quickly.
That's the point.
Way down. Yeah. Like less than half, at least. Or at
right.
most.
These are right. You can get different numbers. Different organizations keep tabs different ways. They know things from different sources. That's fine. But never. I'm just saying. This for an example. These are the pros. They've been at it for a long time. They can be trusted. That you can give to them safely. To help. These are the real deal guys, and this is what they're saying. And then I guess one more here. Of the nearly 26,500 runaways, so that's that 91%, right? Of that 26,500, 1 in 6 were likely victims of child sex trafficking. Again, horrible, but that's what, 15% of that number? Again, way crazy that it happens to anybody, but the numbers that we're talking about are nowhere near what Q has told you. And to me, it's a very simple explanation. is that the real number is not exciting enough. It doesn't get your attention. We have to make it sound worse for you to think we really have the real information. You can trust the revelations with us. You're not being told the truth. There's massive conspiracies and numbers of underground tunnels and bunkers, and this is all happening right under your nose. And the politicians are in on it, and the rich people and the Hollywood actors are all in on it. The facts don't support that. And so it's not a coincidence that these crazy inflated numbers, by the way, this is a live website. Go check out this. Go check out your own sources of people who actually save kids and actually help to rescue them and actually help the grieving parents and law enforcement. People who actually do it in real life. Go check it out. Don't believe us, that's fine. But for an example, it should give you pause, right? That this magically kept going up and up and up over the past year. And then right before everyone started focusing on an election where it's real easy to garner, grassroots support for things. And then this hashtag appears. And that makes me question a lot. Like, what is the purpose of that? Is it? Are you sure this is true? Aside from, you don't believe the numbers, fine. You don't believe the national missing exploited children numbers, fine. Do whatever. Anyways, there are different numbers. Pull in different countries and add them up. The point is, there's no way. Nobody has ever produced any number like that. It's made up.
Right. Yeah. If the numbers even were very high and none of us knew it, following, famous people to try to rescue the children is a backwards way to do this. You want to go find dens where children are being hidden first. Really, that's the dirty work. And that's what these charities who actually, catch child sex trafficking perpetrators and they actually free children and things like that. That's what they do. They're experts. So they've done this far longer than, some of these celebrities have even been accused. And yeah, I mean, people, especially if we're talking United States, we have something called a judicial system. And whether some of us have lost some faith in it or not, at least some kind of fair trial with real evidence has to be presented. And I know we're all frustrated about things like Jeffrey Epstein, committing suicide. And we also know that his victims who have come out and spoken out, that I've heard, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but most of them were not young children, like some of what the Q rumors alleged, infants or something. They were in their teens, everyone I've listened to, and I heard of some pretty young kids, but it's not quite fitting that Q narrative, what the victims, have kind of come out and said. So anyway.
Right. Put that all in the hopper, right, and process all that. To me, it's just a tactic. Like, if it's not exciting enough, let's make it more. Let's make it the number higher. Let's make the kids younger. Let's make the evil even more evil. Sad but true, I think. All right. We're going to take a commercial break, I believe, right now. And we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Shockley Shockwell, lab rat for justice and inventor of Adrenochrome. When journalist Hunter Thompson dreamed up Adrenochrome as a mythical ultimate high-generating substance, we should have known shadowy famous people would figure out a way to ingest it, while even Hunter Thompson himself and the scientific community failed to do so. Today, if you're an evil famous person addicted to human adrenaline, there is hope. We've streamlined the adrenaline extraction process just for you, so you can get your kicks in an ethical fashion. Introducing Adrenochrome, the ethical way for famous people to get their kicks. Simply sanitize a finger, scare yourself with disturbing images like this book of Hieronymus Bosch art. Prick your finger, stir a favorite beverage with the pricked finger, and enjoy. There is hope. Help us raise Adrenochrome awareness. Help spread the word that for nefarious celebrities and politicians addicted to the blood of the innocent, there is a way out. Adrenochrome.
And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Man, we got all kinds of sponsors on board now. This is fantastic. Rescue show. So there might be an ethical way to do this. All right, let's look at. Okay, let's look at, since we're on the adrenochrome thing. Let's do this. All right. The third thing that we saw was, this whole issue of how do we rich people get this awesome drug, and we just heard about a possible theory about this, which is authors have written about it and movies have been made, and that's really not
a Clockwork Orange too. I don't think Shockley mentioned a Clockwork Orange, but adrenochrome is a fictional substance in that. Right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show you all that if you want, and we're not going to read all this to you, but I wanted to show you where you can find out some actual information from people who, again, have looked into it. And we'll share this link as well. But here is a organization, a guy. Here's Brian, who does a podcast called Skeptoid, and they take claims like this and investigate them and say, well, sounds weird, but let's see what there is to it. Here's the part to underline. Everything about the belief is wrong. This is about how to extract adrenochrome from children. Conspiracy theorists believe Hollywood elites torture children and extract drugs from their bodies. Well, this is where we're going, and it's a pretty detailed summary of how this works, where it came from. But the whole story about it's not true. I mean, it can't be true. Even if there was such a conspiracy to do it, right? Even if all these actors and hackers, that's probably would be agreeable to a lot of folks, hackers. If this was a thing that they wanted to do, and this was a drug that really produced this thing, this is not how to do it. This is not. It doesn't work. It's not real.
That's right. It can be. So we know that it is made synthetically for breaking up blood clots in some countries. We know this, okay? But we also know that the literary and even historical mythological roots of any kind of tales of children being abducted, eaten, their blood drank. These myths have been with us for centuries and centuries. Giants or some nomadic people, child snatchers, child catchers. And of course, one of the reasons why is it's sort of every adult's worst fear. It's the parents' worst fear. It's a way to, it used to be a way to control your child's good behavior. When we talk about some of the early fairy tales, they are, it's the whole idea of adrenochrome in literature comes directly from kind of those literary roots, just fairy tales.
And here's exactly what you're talking about. Adrenochrome does have some limited pharmacological use in a few countries. It is easily synthesized, widely available, and inexpensive. No need to harvest it from children or anyone. Its value as a recreational drug is debatable at best. In the United States, it's not even listed as a controlled substance. Those of us who live in the United States know how crazy paranoid the drug industry is about being sued. And if there's any way they could be classified as a controlled substance, and the government would do it. So basically, it's not even that big of a deal, even when you can get it. Not listed as controlled substance. Some research done in the 50s hypothesized that schizophrenia might be associated with high levels of adrenochrome. I assume that means naturally occurring. People who are schizophrenic might have higher levels. And a few authors heard about this and decided to use it in their books, but only after adding the fictional element of psychedelics. And here's the Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Anyway, go read about it yourself. Go to this link, go to other places that'll tell you how to get adrenochrome. And to me, again, it's not, unfortunately, it's not a coincidence that folks who are pushing this as true are always referring to books, movies, fictional things as backup. White Squall, on and on. Okay, because it's part of this popular culture connection, I guess, right? A lot of us share these things, and so it's an easy way to bridge a gap with someone you don't know, right? You've read this book, have you seen this movie? Yeah, I get it. Oh yeah, that must be it. Even I mean, we're not talking about this today, but even to the level of, satanic like symbols everywhere and like hidden messages in this movie and this cartoon, right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a real cheap, frankly, to me, it's a very cheap seats, lowest common denominator way to rope people in to believing what you're selling. It's just, it's all a big conspiracy. Don't you see? It's in the movies. It's in the cartoons. It's in the Disney World, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Versus having to prove it.
Yeah. And the way you can control adults to make them pretty much go as crazy as you want them to is to threaten their children.
Yeah.
Or to say the children are at risk.
And as adults, we can testify to that.
Yeah.
Excuse me, parents. I'm not an adult. Don't accuse me. There is no worse fear. That is the ultimate. Mm-hmm. Is to say, especially a young child, who can't take care of themselves, who needs you every minute of their day, to think that they would be taken and experimented on and just the most evil. That's it. We've I don't know if this is a great idea, but Taryn and I both have delved into any like documentary film that has come out this past couple of months on Q. We will kind of watch it and like study it and make notes and break it down, just because I for many reasons, but to see the psychology, what would a true believer in it, what are they like? What kind of life do they lead? And they're very, very normal people. But it's always about the ultimate. It's so evil. What's happening? Don't you agree? Well, we don't have to go to stuff like this to know that the world's evil, or there's evil in it, or there's bad actors, or there's horrible crimes. There's actual stuff that we can do something about, or pray about, or donate to, or work towards. Right? We don't need stuff that's just not made up. Anyway, so I do suggest you read this blog. It's very, very good. Lots of links to the supporting information. Yes, and it gets really weird. And yes, there's, again, talks about like Tom Hanks and all these allegedly people who are into it. It's just really, really, but that's evil, right? I think what Taryn keeps bringing up on these issues is you can't just accuse people and that you don't know without evidence of doing evil things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not cool, as a human, but as a believer, if you're a Christian, if you follow Jesus, you are absolutely prohibited from doing that. It's a serious deal before God.
Yeah. We have a high biblical standard of proof for any kind of crime. I think we've talked about this before. Even adultery, it was required that there be 2 or 3 witnesses. So if we're saying, well, I've seen a celebrity posting these kinds of photos with this kind of symbolism, and I'm going to convict them of pedophilia, the Bible would say that isn't even remotely close to witnessing it, let alone more than one witness. So, I mean, I think that's, it's pretty self-evident. It's actually pretty basic. We live in crazy times, And the internet is a crazy place. We all love it, but for various reasons. But we can cut through the noise with just basic biblical doctrine and how it applies to the way that we conduct ourselves when we hear wild accusations. You know, and I don't mean wild like they sound crazy, but just that maybe they're true, maybe they're not, but they're heinous.
Yeah.
So,
right. You think, boy, that sounds really bad. Our first response is that true?
right.
Not just automatically subscribe. Oh, well, it must be true because the world's evil. Therefore, every evil claim I hear must be correct.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's where a lot of us are at, isn't it? We're just very lazy. We have no desire to look into it.
Yeah, like, you know, the prophetic community among Christians, which Chris and I are both very much plugged into online. I don't really appreciate it when people speculate about the identity of the man of sin, aka the Antichrist, because I just think accusing anyone of being that most horrible of human beings before he's revealed at the time that Jesus told us he would be revealed in Daniel, it's really mean, guys. It's mean to bring false witness towards somebody, you know, in the world that we don't like. It's fine. I mean, we all speculate among our friends and talk, but we have to be careful what we release in public because that's our witness on the line. And
I think it goes beyond. At that point, you're beyond mean. You're into evil because now you're actually putting it out there. You're attaching a name to the ultimate. You know, like in your case, the Antichrist. Like, how bad can you get? Like, that person's Hitler plus, and all of a sudden you're attaching a name to it. The point is, both God and, you know, the world's watching, right? Folks are watching you. Other believers are watching you. Non-believers are watching you. When we do this, it's not innocent, like, oh, no big deal. Well, I got that name wrong. Next. We're accountable for that. Like what you're saying, that you know, the prophetic communities and things like that. That's a problem in itself. Is like taking responsibility for being wrong. But yeah, we just don't want to engage in it. Just don't. It's not safe.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so yeah, we got one more here because we can go on for hours and hours and hours. But this is like, again, this where's our we should have like a warning label on this, or, you know, hide your children, because this is going to be interesting. If you're not willing to back it up, I have friends, dear friends, colleagues, ministry colleagues, dear brothers in Christ and sisters, but mostly men, who are not really on board with what we're about to expose. Okay, we've convinced ourselves that it's true without, again, actually looking into it or having evidence of it. We reach the conclusion before we see the evidence. Right, major faux pas, and that conclusion is that this past election was rigged, and there is no way. Before we start, I've never voted Democrat, didn't vote for Joe Biden. I have no interest in the Democratic Party. I think it's a wicked platform. There's no way you're going to get me to do it. On national level, state level, nothing. Yeah, I'm not going to speak for Taryn, but that's me. All right, so please don't come back with, oh, you're some kind of secret liberal. No.
Neither am I.
No, she's not.
I have more compassion. I probably have more compassion for liberals, but yeah.
But you can't. There's no universe where Taryn and I are on the left of anything.
Well, I don't like the major party. Like, I just want to say, I don't really like the major parties. I wish that there were tons of different little parties with different voices, and I don't have a problem with anyone voting for any of the candidates that were, you know, I guess, like, righteous or whatever. I don't have an opinion on how everyone should vote. Let's just say, I think we vote issues, and we vote for who we believe is the best candidate, and that's a sacred thing. So,
wait, are you saying are you saying that it's possible that neither candidate is worth our vote as a believer?
There you go. Now you got it.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm good
maybe
to go.
they are. I don't know.
Randy just chimes in whenever he wants, Taryn. It can't be helped.
Yeah, like maybe, yeah. I didn't have a problem with the mainstream candidates where, but I don't really like the two-party system. I don't like the right-left terminology. I really don't. I think we've got the terminology is a very much leading to some kind of divide and conquer, like, inevitability. And I'm not saying that there's someone pulling the puppet strings behind that either, other than the dark spiritual forces that we know exist, the principalities of power. Anyway, yeah.
Amen. So, but now there's a really specific charge that has been around since November the 12th, and only since then. Election was beginning of November. A couple days later, doesn't look good for Trump, right? Look, we all watched. I've been in politics. Those of you who don't know, this is my history in secularism. Okay, before I came into full-time ministry, I thought God wanted me to be in politics and help candidates and run campaigns and organize stuff. And I've been at debates. I've prepped a candidate. Written spin. Okay, like all that stuff. I know a little bit about it. And so now we've seen the election come, and just like we were kind of figuring, because of Corona, right? Because of COVID, a lot of people are voting by mail or absentee, right? So, and some of these states, it takes a while to count the votes up when they come in the mail. And different states had different rules, et cetera, right? But on the election day itself, Trump was at this certain level, but we kind of all knew that when the mail-ins and the absentees started being counted, that lead would change, because if for whatever reason, most folks who vote absentee or by mail tend to vote Democratic. I really can't explain that, other than maybe they're afraid to go out of the house more. I don't know. But I voted by mail. Full disclosure. I wanted it to count. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. My wife did not. She went to the polling place on election day. Great. So what? Our votes are the same, right? Shouldn't they both count? Anyways, so we had this dynamic forming, right? That all of a sudden, after election day, a day or two or three, all these states, the level started changing. All of a sudden, Trump now is down in, for example, Michigan, Wisconsin, right? Remember all this stuff? Arizona, Georgia. It's changing now, and that's people who were convinced that the vote by mail is bad or whatever. Say this got to be fraud now. Something's changing overnight. I saw one result last night, and today it's a different result. So there's this seed of something that's not true, which is that the vote must be changing. Somebody's changing the result of the election. Where Trump actually won, but now there's a secret, nefarious plan to make sure he doesn't win by changing the votes before they count them. Enter Dominion voting systems. Claim Dominion voting systems, not the actual Dominion voting systems, okay? I'm going to show you just a teeny little hair of what we found. And again, believe what you like, but if we're interested in this stuff, then we should take a look. All right. Can you see this? This is a little Google Doc I have. All right. Here's the Save Our Children thing. We'll get to these things later. We talked about this last week or a couple weeks ago. The anti-Semitism, that was last week. Okay. Here's the initial volley. Here's the tweet from Donald Trump, November 12th. See it? Report. Dominion deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide. Data analysis finds 221,000 Pennsylvania votes switched. Trump to Biden. 941,000 Trump votes deleted. States using Dominion voting systems switched 435,000 votes from Trump to Biden. Now, that's a lot of confusing numbers and stuff. But boy, that sounds bad. This is like a scandal of all scandals. Seriously, this would be like a historic scandal. Get our names off there. There we go. This is huge, if true. Right? And he tags the One America News Network, OANN, and Chanel Rion, which is a reporter for OANN. What is that about? There's her, by the way. Chanel.
Okay.
Here's where it came from. One American News Network, November 12th. This is what Trump was retweeting or tweeting about. Here's the report that he cited. Only on one place, okay? Not Fox News, not CNN. God forbid it's CNN, because none of that's true. November 12th. Election systems across the country are found to have deleted millions of votes cast for President Trump. According to an unaudited analysis of data, whatever that means, obtained from Edison Research, states using Dominion voting systems may have switched as many as 435,000 votes from President Trump to Joe Biden. The author also finds another 2.7 million Trump votes appear to have been deleted by Dominion, including almost 1 million Trump votes in Pennsylvania alone. This is what Trump was talking about, and this is what got this whole thing started, right? This is the report that was cited. While the report makes explosive charges, it provides no evidence. The segment is only 48 seconds long. It is not clear what the data is, where it says the data obtained from Edison Research. What is the data? Who analyzed the data? And who the author, quote unquote, is? Because it says right up here, right? The author says, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
The author also finds another, right? What is this? Who is the author? What data? Who analyzed it? So we asked OANN to support this claim, but never heard back. I'll provide the link to this, where this comes from. The numbers mentioned by Trump seem to come from the conservative website Gateway Pundit. Okay, now we're 2 degrees of separation, which cites an anonymous person's post claiming to have done this analysis on a pro-Trump site. So now we're 3 separations away, called the Donald.win. Okay, if that's not clear, the Donald.win is a Donald Trump propaganda site. Okay, it's not news. It's not reliable for anything. .win. Come on. Gateway Pundit, which is a history of spreading misinformation, and that it does. Sorry. Wrote, quote, "We have not verified the results, so we currently are labeling the result unaudited." That's very kind of you, sir. Unaudited instead of total junk. Unaudited, okay? So that's why the original up here says unaudited. Unaudited analysis. So, oh my gosh, now we're 3 separations away. Here we go. Gateway Pundit, unaudited. The anonymous author claimed the data came from Edison Research. Edison Research spokesperson, November 12th. So immediately after this report comes out, says Edison Research has not produced any reports regarding voting irregularities and has no evidence of any voting irregularities. Any claims being reported as such did not originate from Edison Research. So the whole undergirding of the claim is false.
And even if it were, like, basically this is a great article, because am I understanding correctly that even if it were true, that the original sources are really sketchy for all of this, and so therefore they can't be trusted if they were true, not responsibly.
We need more than this, at least, okay?
Yeah, our primary sources here are quite sketchy. If anyone has a better primary source, please provide it. But this is, this is a kind of a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned, Chris.
This is the source. This is the original mention of the article by the president, and here is where the quote-unquote article got its information, by some anonymous person on a propaganda site that's citing stuff that isn't true about Edison Research and Dominion voting machines. How about Dominion? Did they say anything about it? Yes, they did. November 12th, Dominion voting systems categorically denies any claims about any vote switching or alleged software issues with our voting systems. Our systems continue to reliably and accurately count ballots, and state and local election authorities have publicly confirmed the integrity of the process. That was one day of stuff. And right from the get-go, right from the beginning, nope, not true. Didn't come from us. That's not true. We didn't switch. There is no way. We categorically deny. This is like in legalese, this is the absolute hammer. He says, you better not say this again or we will sue you. And they did, by the way. Dominion came back in like 60 or 90 days after this, earlier part of this year, and is suing for over $1 billion because they're being slandered.
That sounds like they're pretty confident. It sounds like they're pretty confident. Yeah. Wow.
They're extremely confident. When you say categorically denies, and then I'm going to sue you for $1 billion because you're trying to shut my company out now. You're trying to bankrupt my company.
Right.
If this is even remote, right? If this is even remotely close to true, if there was evidence of 10 votes being switched because of some voting system, nobody's ever going to use it again, ever. No state is going to sign on to that. Wait, you switched a vote? You understand how this is the integrity of the country and the state and the system of government that we have. There is no way I'm going to use you again.
Yes.
So they're taken extremely seriously, and it's like the whole missing children number. Where do they get these millions and millions and hundreds of thousands? Dude, if you're gonna, excuse me, I should have worn my shirt that says, "Yes, I'm a pastor, don't look so surprised." Dude, if you're gonna make something up, go low. Okay, go with something you can't prove. Or is that something, I wonder if that's true or not. And it said 45 votes were changed. I guess we can't ever prove that. Maybe it's right. But now you're going to the 1 million vote threshold. You're going right for the gusto. Okay. All right. So now, okay, none of that's true, regardless. However, now we have where the Q comes in. Really. Because this anonymous person on the Donald.win, I don't know who that was. No, apparently he's anonymous. He's afraid to say who he was. He's not going to take credit for spreading lies or getting people in trouble or getting people fired or getting sued. I'm going to be anonymous. Okay, so there's who knows who that guy was. But here's the kicker. There's this guy named Ron Watkins, okay? He if you've seen the documentary called Into the Storm on HBO, Q Into the Storm, Colin Hobeck put this together. It's really good. It's really worth your time, I think, even though it's kind of R-rated and
don't watch it with your kids.
Yeah, do not have your kids watch it with you.
If it's uncensored, there's actually moments of really you don't want to even look at it yourself imagery. But it's important to framing who the Watkinses are.
Yeah, and so the driving force behind what the documentary really did well, I think, is to show pretty convincingly that this family, especially the son named Ron, are not clean in this mess, okay? In this Q thing in general. But here's the thing with him. He himself, Ron Watkins, the guy, he used to administer 8chan and then 8kun, remember that whole thing? Where Q actually would post the messages, the drops. He became 1 week later, November 19th, he pretended to be an expert cyber analyst on OANN, which is the only news source to pick this up and run with it. And this is what Trump retweeted. This is where he got the idea from. This is where this whole thing started. So OANN says, yeah, we've got an expert cyber analyst, and it's Ron Watkins. And some folks who know who this guy is back in November, including, I mean, I don't know him personally, but I knew what he was up to. And guys who have been talking to him for a year, like Colin Hobeck and like Frederick Brennan, who worked with him. And if you guys know these names on Twitter, it's a real hoot. You can go check them out. But like, they knew right off the bat. They're like, what? He's an expert in who? In what? He's claiming what?
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's making this stuff up. So now the follow-up is, well, is this true? Is this true? Is this true? Let's get an expert on here. So he's the expert. He's the expert. Here it is. There it is. In December, he's being retweeted by the president himself. Here it is right here. Dominionizing the vote. Donald Trump retweets it November 19th. Here's the video from OANN, that's Chanel Rion, interviewing Ron Watkins. This is the evidence of the non-evidence. Bringing an expert in who has nothing to do with it to talk about how true it is. Okay? And of course, now it gets the president's retweeting. This is just, I don't know when the screen cap was, I guess pretty soon afterwards. Look at the action on that. This is going into everybody's mailbox, everybody's Twitter, everyone's Facebook. Granny's Facebook is going to have this. Oh, well, it must be true. Look at the president tweeting that stuff. Again, nothing changed. None of it's true still. But now we've got an expert named Ron Watkins. And now Trump is retweeting Ron himself because he's not giving up on it. Seems like, oh, he's on my side. So let's retweet more of what he has to say. We're talking about now conspiracies about Attorney General Rosen and foreign actors. And this is where all this junk about other countries being involved in the switching of the votes. And Dominion is Venezuela and all this stuff. I'm sorry, if you don't know what we're talking about, I apologize. But if you do, this is ground zero for the Dominion stuff.
Yes.
Again, I've dear close friends. I'm sorry, Taryn. Go.
No,
go.
I'm just saying, yes, it is ground zero, and it's self-evident. This is, yes.
It's self-evident. I don't care who tries to spin what. There's no spin in this. Categorically denied. There is no evidence. Edison Research did not do this. We didn't say any such thing. Dominion, there's no way we could have done this. Impossible. Not happening. Not real. It's not real. Sorry, this anonymous guy on some propaganda site is not right. That's the end. That's the end. And that's where OANN, if they had any integrity about it, would say, sorry about that. We can't source this. We looked into it and we can't confirm. We just can't run with this anymore. Sorry. We delete that from the thing. Nah, we're going to continue. We're going to do more. We're going to get our name out there. We're going to bring in a cyber expert. Well, he does consider himself a cyber expert. Anyways, this is not a show about Ron Watkins or any of that. But the point is, this is where Q sucked it up. Right? And now, the Q following, if you remember this is where it all explodes. Right? Now it's all coming together. The missing children and the satanic pedophiles and the election and all of this now is together in one big mess. And if you're not against this, you're part of the problem. That's what I've heard. Right? God forbid you come out and say, hold on a second. Hold on. Whoa. I don't think Dominion did anything. I think he just lost. All right, it was different than usual with the, counting the votes took a while and stuff. But okay, show me the problem. Where's the actual turning of the votes? Where's the actual evidence? Where's the videos that we were promised? Where's the Kraken that we were promised? Nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere because it's not true. It's not because I don't want it to be true or because you don't want it to be true. There are many millions and millions of good conservative Christian people who love Donald Trump, wanted him back in, think, the Biden administration would be the worst thing ever for the country. I'm not debating any of that. But fine, have your wants and desires. That's fine. But that's not this. This is actually claims of truth. Truth claims. This is true. No, it's not. This is true. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So hopefully, and you guys can ask for links if you want. Twitter. By the way, all this is deleted now because Trump's been banned. Ron Watkins has been banned. And because of this crap like this, excuse me. But it's not about free speech. Twitter doesn't care about what you're saying, honestly. I don't think they really care. I think they care if it costs them money, or you're actually putting out things that are endangering their business or their country that they're doing business in.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they got rid of these guys who were promulgating this. Dominion story, I'm sorry, I'm going to take this to my grave. It was made up. It was made up. And Q was fine with that. We're fine with that because it helps us. It helps us gain supporters. It helps us gain bakers, right? It helps us gain traction. It sets us up for the next thing. The storm is coming. The storm is coming. Now people are really ticked off, aren't they? Because here, all right, I'm gonna get this off the screen here.
This is an important, this is very important, especially since it's all been pulled down. So it's good that we preserve it.
Yeah, the screenshots are good.
The smoking gun. Yeah, this is.
And Taryn could tell you this isn't up the tip of the iceberg, with like evidences of these things. And you look into these, watch these documentaries and the work that they've put into it. There is so much more to it. This is just a tiny, tiny piece. I'm debating whether to show you one other thing.
Sure.
If you know the names, Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell, Michael Flynn, Q people know them all very well. And if you're in that universe, you know exactly who we're talking about. Okay, I'll just show you this one little teeny piece, and then we'll leave it alone. But it's important because now we're in the real world. Okay, we're from anonymous people posting stuff on a .win website to a obscure news channel being shared all over the universe, and now we got people in court claiming things. December 1st, Sidney Powell, who is at one point Donald Trump's attorney or one of them for the election, overturning the results or whatever. Powell on Tuesday, December 1st, filed an affidavit from Ron Watkins. You gotta be kidding me. This is a joke, right? Right? Taryn, you were with me as this all was unfolding and transpiring. Didn't I, on more than one occasion, think like this has got to be a sick joke, or are we dreaming?
Yeah.
This can't be real.
Yeah.
So an affidavit from Ron Watkins, son of 8 Coons owner Jim Watkins, in a Georgia lawsuit alleging that Dominion voting system machines used in the election had been corrupted as part of a sprawling voter fraud conspiracy. So, and here's the link to it. Powell cites Watkins as the proof of the fraud. Mm-hmm. By the way, Powell is also the attorney for Michael Flynn. And at the time, Donald Trump.
Yeah, and so at best, this is boiling into, yes, you did, no, I didn't, yes, you did, no, I didn't, yes, you did, no, I didn't. I don't know how many of y'all like to do that for, a year or more. I think, 5 minutes of that is obnoxious.
And the unfortunate, yes, it's annoying. Yes, I throw a little fit about how can this be happening, and I can't believe this is true. And these are actual lawyers with actual experience and work, and who should know better. And by the way, after this, there's a lot of juicier details that have come out. Like, by the way, Dominion comes out and says we're suing Sidney Powell. You want to sue us? We're going to sue you. She goes to court and says, no, all these things I said about them, no reasonable person thinks it was true. That's literally her defense.
No.
How? Post-truth world, right? We're in the post-truth world now, and you don't have to be on the left to engage in it. And here's just the last bit about this. Ron Watkins has been a major influencer and in some ways a hero for the QAnon community, leveraging his power in the community to become one of the most vocal supporters of the pro-Trump Stop the Steal campaign, including Rudy Giuliani and other senior people were retweeting his stuff and using his stuff as the evidence, which we know is false.
Right. Yeah.
So that's when I say the Stop the Steal thing that, again, blew up in November, December, right? We've got marches. We've got people parents and their kids marching on Washington and the country's over because the election's been stolen and we have evidence. All of that is not true. It just isn't. It's not about what we want, again, like who you prefer to win in elections and stuff and what you think the country's going to head towards if this happens. I'm not arguing that. You'd have your desires. You could have your vote. You voted for, maybe the guy won, maybe he lost. But you have to have evidence to back these things up. You can't just run with it and think it's true. And by the way, this thing that happened, whatever you want to call January 6th, that was directly 1,000,000% happened because of the lie of Dominion stealing the election. If that wasn't out there, if it wasn't retweeted by the president, if it wasn't talked about by Ron Watkins, if it wasn't brought up by Sidney Powell and whipped up all the conservatives and the paramilitary groups in our side of things, yes, sorry, we have them, there would be no storm of the Capitol. There would be no insurrection. There would be no arrests. For what? Why would they do it? Oh, well, we lost. It sucks, but we lost. Right?
Right.
All of a sudden it's turned into, no, they stole it from us. Right? Now it's a giant us versus them. And by the way, I didn't even get into to me, the worst part of this whole scenario with the stop the steal lie is the blood vendetta against Michael Pence.
Yes.
Vice President Pence, for whatever you might think of him or his politics or whatever, is a Christian man. He's always, every time he ever speaks, he's always, I'm a Christian first. And then a conservative and a Republican or whatever. There are literal attempts on his life, January 6th and after, because of this lie. By the way, Christian people, believers, not Q acolytes, right? Just normal folks now are saying, hang Mike Pence.
God forbid.
Arrest Mike Pence.
God protect Mike Pence. In every.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really hasn't died down on that.
No. No.
Right? There's still, right? You watching this stuff, they're still after him. It's like, I can't believe he didn't have the guts to do the right thing. Which means do something completely illegal and tyrannical and say that the vote never happened. If you don't do that, then you're the enemy and you need to be hanged and shot. And oh my God, this is the worst case scenario. This is, like genocide talk.
Right. Yeah, and the priorities of Jesus Christ, the gospel of Jesus Christ, patriotism becoming flipped is the heart of, I believe, what needs to be reformed. If you follow Jesus, then that's your number one. Just like Mike Pence says. Even if you make a mistake, if you follow Jesus, he turns our mistakes. All things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. We know if we humble ourselves and pray and repent, we who love God, then he heals our lands. Isn't that, to me, this stuff, even if you thought you could fix the world with yelling treason and hang Mike Pence and let's commit crimes in the streets because we believe that more massive crimes are being committed. I mean, it's not like there isn't a time and a place for revolution, but this was not it. Internet rumors are no basis for it. I mean, might I remind people that, our same old issues. We don't need to even all the child trafficking rumors in the Q movement. Like, we have abortion going on. We have the real Holocaust of infants who are being murdered at almost every time of pregnancy. I mean, this is real, and we need to return to caring about that. I know we all care about that, but we know that's happening. We know that it's right there in the open.
Amen.
Yeah. So,
And by the way, just in case anyone was wondering, and I know you are because you're commenting, you guys are fake. Are you for real or are you from the left?
I am fake. Check it out.
I'm pretty sure Terran's hair color is not completely natural.
You're on the internet. Are we in the same? Well, that's. Are you fake? Thank you for commenting. You're just kind of displaying the problem and helping prove our points. People who are on the left, or whatever, they need the love of Jesus, just like anyone else. It's very simple. I mean, you can't bake a cake and substitute ashes for the flour. That's what we're doing. So that's why I hate right versus left rhetoric. It's like, yeah, I will. If the left wants to come persecute Christians, I'll stand with the right. I'll vote against abortion. I'll be a one-issue voter. I won't enjoy being categorized as left and right, because it's ridiculous. We're all individuals. This nation is supposed to be an individualistic society where we have universities, and at these universities, we're seeing a totalitarian kind of rhetoric form. Well, we need Christians there. We need people giving the gospel to children, giving the gospel in schools. We need teachers getting fired because they are doing that. They're showing the love of Jesus to the young. We need to protect the children who are being murdered in the womb. And we need to not stop, talking at universities and dialoguing with the left, because our mandate is go into all the world and preach the gospel. Well, if you already know the gospel, I'm not preaching to you.
That's the thing, right?
I'm not sharing it with you. Yeah, like the people who need it are the lost. So, is that real?
The left and right labels that you're talking about now, it used to mean something, but I don't anymore. It's a spiritual problem, right? Because now we've got idolatry. We've got right. I mean, we've got the enemy using these things against us to divide us. The body, I mean, not humanity, right? The body of Christ is divided now because some of us want to follow Jesus, and if something is evil comes up, we want to see that it's actually true. It doesn't put you on the left, because this is the team, the us versus them mentality of the devil, which is, oh well, you got to get into this tribe here, and you have to always be opposed to that tribe over there, and if God forbid you, all of a sudden you're out of your mission. The gospel is now on the back burner because you have to protest the Arizona vote recount, because that's my tribe says I have to do that, and if I don't agree with that, I must be on the other tribe. This is sickness.
Tribalism is diverse, right? But yeah, it is. It's evil polarization. We're dehumanizing each other, and that's why I don't like the terminology. If you're I don't know, a right wing, like Westboro Baptist person or something, and you're coming to a funeral with these offensive signs, that are so evil to people, and they malign the gospel. Go ahead, call me a leftist. I'll stand up for those people. That's fine. Call me a leftist. Call me a leftist if you're a racist, anti-Semite, or you're against African American justice or something like that. Call me a leftist. Justice for all is.
Well, it's not even. I mean, I'm with you. I hear you, but folks aren't even there. I mean, we're not even at that point at all. For example, we have a commenter going nuts here called Mr. G. And Mr. G says, you guys are trying to you're trying to change the event. Just let it go, right? Just let what the left wants, and let us go on believing that Joe Blow China won. Okay. Here's the thing, like, this is why the 6th happened, and this is why people are continuing to be deceived, because you got to take it to its logical conclusion. If you really believe that it was stolen, if you really believe that another hostile, foreign power, Russia, well, usually these folks don't mind Russia so much, right? China's the big problem. If China is the one who was behind this and is influencing our election and actually changed the results and actually did that, and there's actual proof of that and evidence, which there isn't. But even if there was, what is the result of that? That kind of is time to do something about it, right? That almost would be take up arms time. Because now, what do we do? We don't have any voice. We can't determine our own leadership. We must. To me, this is what I mean. Why we have to nip it in the bud and not just agree to disagree on this. Because you can't. Because if you're serious, if you really believe it in your heart of hearts, you've got to do something about it. Just like, to me, it was funny when Trump was first elected, and this whole thing with Russia, determining the last election. Remember that? A lot of our left-wing friends were all, Russia controlled it. Russia picked him to win, and he's the reason why Hillary lost. Russia's the reason why Hillary lost, and all this junk. They didn't want to believe that Trump could win. He did. Once. But the same stuff, I'm like, wait a minute. And I see all these, the politicians and the Nancy Pelosi's and all that stuff. They all get together and say, well, Russia attacked our election, attacked our democracy and all that stuff, right? Remember all that? Okay. I'm like, I don't think you guys are really serious. Because if you were, that's an act of war. You wouldn't be after Donald Trump all day long. You'd be after Putin. You'd be going after them and sanctioning their government and breaking treaties and saying, if you do this, if we prove that you did this, we're at war. I mean, if that's the truth, if that was really the case, that's what you would do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or something concrete, not just going after your political enemies and keeping it at home because you're a coward or whatever. It's the same crud on the other side. Now, well, guys, you don't really believe it. You don't believe China was involved in changing votes. You don't believe Dominion actually changed any votes. You're just upset that they lost. That's the facts. And that's okay. Let's be upset. There's a place and a time for that. That's all right. Let's mourn. That's fine. Let's get before the Lord and say, I repented. I made this an idol, Lord. I wasn't about the gospel for the past year. I was about politics. That was wrong. How do I, that's fine. Maybe our country's doomed now because, Biden's the worst thing ever. Fine. But that's a whole different scenario than thinking was actually taken by some nefarious conspiracy by who knows who. Chinese, George Soros, Tom Hanks, whatever. Big difference, right? Mm. So anyway, I just wanted to not give credence to Mr. G's unreasonable feedback, but to say that, if you really do believe it, this is what happens. This is why the 6th happened. This is why we still have fences up at the Capitol. By the way, hang on.
It's nice too. Thank you for chiming in, Mr. G. But if you're going to comment and disagree, try to present some evidence or really coherent points so that we can deal more in depth. Because if you say stuff like, let it go, that's just some kind of blanket command. It's actually hard to respond to in a substantive way.
Yeah, but we do want to engage at the same time. Yeah. You don't have to agree with things we're saying. That's fine. I saw the. Wait a minute. I saw the comment, but now I don't see it again. It had to do with Gates. Oh, here it is. Here it is. If you don't believe this, okay, let me ask you this. You don't believe that Barr had been convicted of treason against the president and is going to be hung soon in the tribunal? No, none of that's true, sir. You don't believe the tribunal is going on right now, and that's why fences haven't come down in Washington, D.C. Also not true, sir. I'm going to prove it to you. I am going to Washington, D.C. tomorrow morning. Truth. Pre-planned, my son wants to go. We are going to take a train We're going to go to the Capitol building approximately 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. I will show you why the fences are there. And it's not because of a tribunal. It's because of crazy people who want to take their guns and go take care of business and make their own tribunals and hang people and shoot people. Right? That's the truth. I'm gonna. Who is that? Who is? I don't want to be a name dropper. Whatever. That pseudo famous pastor who's all about the Q stuff. And there's tunnels underneath Washington D.C. And if you don't believe that there's secret tunnels of children under Washington D.C., you're the monster. So I'm gonna go and show you that there's no tunnels. I'm gonna show you that there's no tribunals. And I don't know where Mr. G says he's in Arizona. I guess he's never been to Washington. I invite you to come on out, sir. And see for yourself and ask why this is happening. I'm going to try to go into the Capitol. Yes, I am. The visitor center, okay? The right way to do it. If they're open, if they're going to accept people, then we're going to go and I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to take videos. I'm going to expose them all tomorrow with my son. Okay? Then we'll have our answers. And just this is just crazy talk about tribunals and hanging. Attorney General Barr, they're gone, dude. They don't have a job right now. There's no one there. They got a whole new set of folks in there. Nothing's happening in Arizona. I'm sorry, Taryn. I'm going to let you speak here. I just
you go. Yeah, no, I'm here for it.
We actually have church tonight. I gotta get ready for that. You don't believe the tribunals? Okay. Something about Arizona. From Arizona is being overturned. Here it is. This is really bad radio, I understand. Anomalies. Children are being missing children are being rescued. Yeah, by actual people who do that. Here it is. I'm going to tell you that Georgia is now getting their own products. So is Pennsylvania. I don't know what that means. About voting machines? States get what they want.
Yeah, we're talking about voting machines.
Here. Saying that nothing happened. Well, then how come Arizona? I didn't say nothing happened. I said the election happened and it didn't work out for Trump.
Yeah, a lot of things happened.
Nothing happened then. How come Arizona, where I live, is turning everything over? Nobody's turning anything over. It's done. Like, I understand this whole cyber ninja thing. I understand this is an outside third party. There's nothing to do with Arizona. Decided to come in and we want to count the votes ourselves and audit it. And it's going to be over real quick. And it's still going on. And it's a joke. Nothing is going to change. They're not going to find anything. Because the state never found anything. The Republicans in the state never found anything. They would love to have said, oh my gosh, look at this. We've discovered the truth. We've uncovered the change of the votes, and Arizona can now flip to Donald Trump. Do you think there's anything that they would want more than that? They would love it. It's not true. He lost. He lost no matter how many times you recounted. He lost Georgia. They recounted 4 times. He lost every time. He lost Pennsylvania. He lost Michigan. He lost Arizona. It's a fact. It's just the truth. Nothing's being overturned. Nobody's being reinstated. There is no Constitution. If we're big on the Constitution, right? I know a lot of Q folks are like all big about the Constitution. We've got to follow the law. We've got to respect the law and the rightful president, right?
Yeah, and with it on that.
Right? Why not? Yes, of course. So let's do that. And then since you know the Constitution well, and I know it pretty well, there's no mechanism anymore to change the government except for an election in 4 years or impeachment, but that wouldn't change parties. You're just going to get President Kamala Harris. Is that what you want? That's it. There's no reinstatement happening. There's no tribunals happening. There's no constitutional way. None. That's all done already. That's what November and December were for. Right? I did a couple of live streams. I call a lot of heck for it. I just said, hey, this is the process, guys. If there's any fraud, if there's any reversal or rejection of your state's election results, it has to happen by December. Because that's what the Constitution says. Mm-hmm. But it didn't. So there's no more chances. And then Mike Pence reads it and makes it official on January 6th. That's the end. There's no more remedy. There's nothing else. If you want something different than that, if you want a tribunal, if you want to hang people that you don't like, if you want to shoot some people, if you want to start over and reinsert the guy who lost 8 months later, you're done with America. I don't know what that is, but that democracy or whatever, the republic is dead. You now have whatever, tyranny.
Yeah.
That's what it would be. Okay, it's not constitutional in any way. Just so you know. So let's be honest about it. You want to overthrow the rightly elected government and put in somebody who you like. That's not constitutional. That's not the American way. Anyway, now I'm totally done, Taryn. Please land this plane.
Oh, I totally agree. We want to change how people vote in a few years. Let's all go to our leftist neighbors with a nice casserole when something sad happens to them. Let's go to college campuses and reach out to hurting kids who, they've swallowed all this rhetoric from, a bunch of professors that just agree with one another. A lot of our new generation of kids, and we're yelling about Black Lives Matter and Antifa. These are young people. They're from colleges. A lot of them never heard of Jesus. We have an entire generation here of a lot of lost children. If we want to change how people vote, let's tell them about Jesus. That's where the change begins. We don't need, it doesn't even matter if we're wrong about this stuff. The gospel is what will transform this nation. It's what this nation, a big group of people in this nation kind of started it, with that in mind, and we know that. We know that. We cling to that. So, and
and that's what this is for. The lifeguard was on the cross, and he can give you life. We just have to, like Romans says, right? Admit that he's your Lord. Confess with your mouth, believe in your heart God raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. That's the bottom line, regardless of any of this other stuff. But it seems like the church needs to recalibrate here, because we're believing a whole lot of stuff that isn't true, and that matters. It's not true.
I super enjoyed listening to all the knowledge that you have. Like, I've known Chris for long enough to see he's moved in the political world for quite a while in the United States, knows how to find the primary sources where things started on the internet, really savvy with all of that. And if you check out all of the information he shared in the broadcast today, you should have a lot of fun kind of learning about these points that he's made. He's really the best person on these topics, and especially the political landscape and aspect of all of that. So I do believe in trusting people who've done their homework, and I really think this homework is pretty powerful stuff. Check it out.
Bless you for saying that, but I don't feel like it's just like using your past to minister now. That's all it is.
Yeah, but that's all there is, right?
That's all we've got.
I'm not going to use someone else's.
You'd be surprised, Tara.
I would like to.
Yeah, we'd like to use someone else's story for our witness. Oh, we can't. We got to use where we came from. Yeah. Anyways, so that's that. Again, if maybe folks who are just joining in now, it's been an hour and a half, go rewind this. Okay, watch it. Check out the screenshots that we presented. Check out the links that you're going to see below or that you see on the screen. Go do it. Look at it. Research it. Just be willing to be wrong. And by the way, we can still be wrong. I can be wrong about a whole bunch of stuff. Taryn could be wrong about a whole bunch of stuff. But Jesus is never wrong. And if we put a little effort into following him, I think, first and foremost, be about the kingdom of God first, then all these things will be added to you. Then we can be about what the Lord wants us to be about and not get caught up and, God forbid, into idolatry and believing lies and spreading lies, which is, again, not a place we want to be. The Lord is not blind, and he's going to hold us accountable. And with that, out of here. Come on, get us out of here. All right, friends. RescueShow.com will have in a bit here, before too long, all the documentation you want. We're going to have Bible verses for you to marinate on, to actually go back to the Lord in prayer about this, because that's what we care about, right? Go check it out. Share it. We'll try to be back as soon as we can for our next episode, but who knows how these things go. Again, please like and subscribe to our channel called the Rescue Show channel on YouTube. And hit the bell to be notified. Even if you don't agree, that is cool. We want to hear from you. We want you to be on the show, by the way. We want to have you as a guest, not just some anonymous poster out there in the internet land. We want to hear from you. There's a form right on the website. Fill that out. Or contact myself and Taryn. There's our Twitter handles right below you here. You can email us as well. That's all down in the description. We love you all so much. Okay, until next time, Chris and Taryn for the Rescue Show. We bless you. We do. We do. We hope this has been a blessing to you. Bless the Lord at all times. All right, guys. See you next time.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Yeah, amen.